Hey, welcome to APPE TV Livestream. Got a great group of filmmakers here with deep knowledge on metadata madness. How many times have we all cried over losing metadata? Or, so let's do a quick round of hellos. Who are you? Where are you from? Tell me all about you.
Hey everybody, John Knowles here from APE, and I'm a mod on the Facebook page and the group, and coming to you from Los Angeles.
My name's Pelle. Go ahead, go Pelle.
All right, sorry. Hi, my name is Pelle Asselbergs. I'm a Dutch film editor based in Amsterdam, and I mainly cut documentary series in episodics.
My name is Art Bell. I have a creative studio called Dreamlike Pictures, and we are in northern Vermont.
Bryan here. I'm a Los Angeles-based editor. I'm currently working on a Ryan Murphy show, 911, and I also cut quite a bit of indie films, short films, and all that.
Hi, I'm Joshua Menco, a long-form fiction editor based in Amsterdam, and I do mainly stuff for Dutch cinemas and for the streamers, also some international stuff.
Nice. Wow. And a rock star, clearly.
Sort of.
So this episode really, what we're going to do is we're going to go on the last half of the show. We're going to do some demos. We're going to show Avid to resolve. Yes, it's the Premiere Pro Editors group, but we're looking at Avid and what it does right. Why do we go to Resolve? Why do we need Resolve for, translating AAFs? A little bit on post sound, just a little bit, because we're going to dedicate a whole show to that. So that's on the latter half of the show. And in fact, there's going to be some best practices, PDFs, tips that we're going to have that you'll be able to take with you at links to that, QR codes. But the first half of the show, we're going to talk about why. So you're going to learn how at the end, and we're going to talk about why first. But sponsors first. John, Lucid Link, Digital Anarchy. We wouldn't be here without Lucid Link and Digital Anarchy helping us out. Here, I'll just screen share my thing here. This is Digital Anarchy here. Thank you very much, you guys, for... I had it all set up for a cool screen on it, but what I'll do is I'll refresh it.
What's the free plugin? Now I want to.
Yeah, this is the Anarchy Access. Their
I want to know what that one was.
Box, deal. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool to get a free plugin. Why not?
Yeah.
There you go.
And Lucid Link.
Sign up, everybody.
Awesome. Sign up. Thank you guys for helping us put these shows on. And so, Johnny, you want to just take her from here?
Where are we going? Where am I taking everybody?
Oh.
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
We're already here. Okay, so
we're already here. Yeah.
So why do we do this? That's the bottom line.
Why are we doing this? Why are we? So what's I guess what this, and again, we're not this show is not to bag on Adobe per se. I think we could all agree every NLE is missing something, right? And sometimes we patch up those holes using the other NLEs, and it's kind of a weird ecosystem where a lot of people will bounce back and forth, especially using Resolve, which is sort of the Swiss Army knife for people to do various things that are not easily done in other programs or less efficiently done in other programs. So whoever wants to start, I want to know from you, what do you think Premiere's shortcomings are, and why do you use other tools to kind of fill in those gaps?
Well, I can chime in there. I have a short anecdote. So when I was cutting newsreels, I didn't go to film school, but I was cutting newsreels and reality shows for a production house, and they got the opportunity to do the first Dutch Netflix original, and they thought, hey, you might be a match. So they asked me, do you want to cut it? And I was like, hell yeah! But I knew nothing about metadata management or ingest, so I just chucked everything into Premiere and intuitively right-clicked merge clips, and I started cutting the big Netflix show. And you can imagine the world of pain I entered when time came to do turnovers. So I sort of found out the hard way what Premiere's shortcomings were, or where there's room for improvement. Because I basically just started cutting without thinking about stuff, and soon found out how important it is to set your project up correctly. That's my experience.
Yeah, Bryan, you got like some crazy ass story about frequency for audio and frame rate that you solved some.
I think yes, but I think maybe bring that up. I mean, that's not like why I would not choose Premiere necessarily. We should bring that up later and talk about that when we get to metadata. But for Premiere, it's like for coloring and stuff. Like if we're going to start passing off to team members that want to use their tool set, that's where you would not want to stick in Premiere necessarily. If you're trying to have more of a team collaboration, or like, people aren't going to do a VFX in Premiere. So eventually things have to get out of the program, get to the right tool set for that right job for that. So that, I like Avid because I enjoy the trimming the most, but, to each their own. And I think it mostly just comes to like when it gets beyond one person doing it all in the box and you're expanding a team to use their expertise in their area. That's where you want to get out of the program, and metadata helps you get out to that stuff.
How about you, Art? What's your take on interoperability between these systems? I mean, you basically cut on Premiere, big Premiere fan, but didn't you say that you're kind of leaning towards Resolve for a lot of stuff now, and you always grade in Resolve, right?
Yeah, well, we didn't always grade. We got pushed there by our first 4K RAW cinema camera maybe 7 years ago, when I tried to untangle the Lumetri RAW, blah, 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 blah. Just didn't work. And a friend of mine at Technicolor, he's been pushing me for years to learn Resolve. And I goes, no. And finally, it took me 4 years, and I did it. And so now I went down a rabbit hole. I became a certified senior colorist. In our studio, I can give up everything now. Shooting, first pass, cutting, some story, but I grade everything that comes out of this shop because I've learned to love grading with Resolve. And we don't want to talk about the Premiere beta, their raw, their color stuff, but I think I'm pretty comfortable right where I am. And I love the Resolve tools, and the rate at which they come out with new tools is mind-boggling to me.
Premiere, Resolve. I'm from the days of, D-Vision and the early days of Avid, and, Discrete Logic when they killed Edit, killed me. I was just like, I was heartbroken. And, if they had a subscription financing model, I don't think that they would have fallen into a financial hole. And I believe that Resolve was going to have to, get their software to pay for itself rather than having hardware offset the cost of R&D. I mean, we're facing incredible tech disruption with, new processors, new, faster NVMe SSDs. It's crazy, but that's we could do a whole other show on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I bought Resolve like 3 years ago, and that's the last I ever paid into it, and I'm still using it. So.
Right, but once they hit that threshold where everybody has a copy.
Yeah, then what?
Keeping it, so.
Sell more pocket cameras. I don't know.
Yeah, Pelle.
Yeah, for me it was just that I've been working on Premiere for over a decade now, and I really truly love the system. And I'm a kind of editor that also want to handle the dailies himself, and work on the turnovers. And I'm really happy that everybody in the chain of post production after me is also happy, and they get all the tools and all the things I've been working on for maybe months, and just translate it the best possible way to their software. So that's why I always been looking for ways to make that happen and stay as long as possible inside Premiere. And unfortunately, the turnovers and the ingest is not optimized in my experience. And I think there are some workarounds, and they're workarounds, so not ideal. And I think if you want to improve your system and see that, we have color, we've got text, they got so many great features, but I think just some essentials for users are just not around. And that's the way I've been doing it for over now 10 years, just with DaVinci for ingest. And lately now also DaVinci even for output to Pro Tools, and it just all feels very, very beneficial for my workflow. And every team member that works on the show is really happy with that. So that's a bit of my story.
Yeah, I'm just going to share with you. So Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Academy Award-winning film. it was cut on Premiere. But on the day when they were shooting, they used Resolve for the dailies, for the color timing. And then when they went into post, because of the complexity of the VFX, the Adobe environment was perfect with After Effects and Premiere. Productions was a huge part of that evolution in the film. They tested it and made it work for us, which is awesome. And then they did a Resolve finish. So that's really, when you try to get all these the software to communicate, it's not one tool that's going to solve it all, right? You have to have multiple tools, and we all know this because we've gone through decades of software development. I always say that Brian's my favorite Avidnista, which in fact he's a Premiere guy originally, but it's so funny because we don't need to have Avidnistas, Resolvolutionaries, Final Cut extremists, or Premiere Madonnas. It doesn't matter what you use as long as the tool works. And the ideal would be anybody could cut in whatever they want and trade data. Hopefully, that frame would be that middle person that comes through and links us all, so everybody can do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, and we don't have to worry about stuff. And that brings us to that humanity versus the machine topic, right? Like these tools can't get in the way of our creative. Brian?
Yeah. I think all of us probably started getting into this because we love movies, or there's something about that really, spoke to us. I didn't get into this because I wanted to stare at metadata. That's not why I started doing, editing. I love filmmaking. I grew up watching all kinds of movies and shows and, music and all kinds of media, different forms. And I like software and tools that lets me create a story that connects with humans. And I want, the more that we can make it interruptible, is that the word, between different softwares and let people use what they want and collaborate, I think is good in the face of AI coming at us. If it comes at us and can take over the tech, grunt work of things, I'm all for that, so that we can stay on the story. Even like my assistant editor on the show, like I would love it if more AI took away the busy work of certain things and she could help more with like sound design. I'm like, why don't you take a pass on that scene? And, I can give her more opportunities to cut, and I can look at scenes with her. She gets an amount of that, but a certain amount of it is currently just like kind of the grunt work of like making sure everything's in order for turnovers later. And I think as long as producers don't see that as we just need less people, keep people on a team. Like I wouldn't want to like edit by myself in the dark room and have no assistant and no human reaction to an edit. I want to edit something and be like, hey, come over here. What do you think of this scene? What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? I don't really want to ask ChatGPT what it thinks of my edit. I have no interest in that. So yeah, I'm in for it, for human stories to connect with people, try to tell a story that emotes something to an audience and they connect with it. And that's why we're doing this. And so metadata is just a means to an end to give stuff to other team members to collaborate with other humans, is my opinion.
Yeah.
How do you all feel about really kind of under the hood AI tools for that kind of assistant editing role? Because I do think that there is a lot of opportunity there. Again, not to eliminate jobs, because I still think, knowing a lot of editors and anyone who's worked in a large company or for a production, editors tend to be hyper focused on story and the job and not technology. Because I know editors, I've told them, hey, show up in a classroom tomorrow. You won't have an assistant. You got to bring a laptop. And they were like deer in headlights. They're like, wait, what? I have to set up my own computer? Like they didn't know anything except how to push the buttons in Avid. So everything beyond that, they're always going to need assistance. That role will never go away. Every editor needs to lean on staff for something. Mm-hmm. That being said, as an assistant editor, why wouldn't you want the tool that automatically looks at all the dailies and syncs audio, strips out empty audio channels from the thing that wound up in there that we don't need, makes the proper mono pairs and wraps everything up and does the sync, whether it's multicam or something down the road that's more robust, like merge clips with less problems, that type of stuff, adds the metadata, puts in the camera angles. Like I mean, you'll still have to supervise that process, but why wouldn't you want that? And as a solo editor, oh my God, I want to push 2 buttons and have that taken care of, because that to me is the most tedious part of getting started.
I actually just talked to a mentor friend of mine, Ed Marks. He cut Jeepers Creepers back in the day, and he was cutting a movie where there's not enough budget to bring an assistant on, so he's just doing it himself. He's like, I'm exhausted by the time I'm editing because I've already done all that stuff. So I think he would be like, yes, please bring the the AI thing to take that off his plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you brought up a funny fear factor situation with merged clips.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell? You know, every Avid editor that comes into Premiere starts with making merged clips and makes a mess.
I keep bugging them to get rid of it or either fix it, and they said the code's too old, they can't be fixed. I'm like, okay, but just take them out then, because they just lead to problems, you know.
Just take it out of the menu.
Hide it. Let's just hide
my
it.
analogy, that's also my analogy. Like, it's even in the best practices guide, like, don't use merge clips. And my analogy is always a restaurant and the waiter tells you not to order the soup. Like, don't put the soup on the menu if you don't want me to order it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Neil's got a great comment here, and we actually had a comment in APPE. By the way, hey, someone said my audio level was low. Is it better now? I think I fixed it.
You could still stand and go up a little bit.
Okay, I'll try. How's that? Better? 1, 2?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thanks. So Neil said that has asked about the elimination of AE and assistant editor jobs, and there was also a comment, because we did this show with Michael Camus about Quickture and, you know, automated processing editing for doing socials and, you know, agentic AI, you know, creation of storylines. Yeah, it's taken away jobs, but what is it doing though? It's also shifting, as Bryan says, the jobs from a logistics to more creative. You know, I had my assistant editor doing text inserts onto the picture image, the clip descriptions, so that I could actually edit with text on the sequence. It took a day for us to do all of that. And now with transcription automation, it's a lot easier to cut. Now you can cut transcriptions with text to drive the video cut. I mean, we're not going backwards. This all, you know, it's not, we're not going backwards. This AI is here.
You just reminded me of I cut this movie with Soviet Union past tense, and we had to find a Russian speaking assistant to do subtitles for me. I don't speak Russian. So it's like, yeah, he had to, that was before transcriptions, like years ago. And it would have been, I guess it would have got rid of his job, but yeah, it would have helped in that small movie. But
Right. Well,
I must say, just big shout out for the caption now in Premiere. I mean, the big shout out how that works now, how AI is evolving in the background with speech to text, but also how transcriptions are now able to translate and do all that. So I think they're really doing all those things to make our lives better every day.
Absolutely. Okay, so we could go into the demos, I guess. Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah, we're hitting that mark. Let's save some time. Good time for demo. Pelle, you're first. So I'd love to know what you've got to show us, because it's, you know, you've got some great stuff going on. Here, I'll just go like this. Just so you guys know, it's a workflow guide by Pelle. He has recorded written down a ton of great points and tips, and you can QR code scan that. And we're going to do a screen share with Pelle. Here we go. There you are.
Great, yeah.
Take
there
her
we
away,
are.
buddy.
Yeah, I don't want
Thanks
to.
for your patience with you guys. I'm still working this software. It's pretty complicated. I love it, and I appreciate you guys being patient with me while I push buttons.
I think what I did is like a year or so ago, I just started to write down stuff I was doing, because I wasn't every new assistant on the team or every new project. I was just explaining over and over again what the workaround for me was and how to keep everybody happy. So I just started to write down everything. And the funny thing is that I just found some loopholes in my experience, or some loopholes I encountered. Like, oh wow, if I felt a bit like Twister, you know that game. You got like one hand on red, one on yellow, and then a feet on blue, and that's how I get it all to work. And it's basically what I do is I go to resolve, create my dailies there. Don't use multicam sync. There are a bunch of downsides for me for multi-camera sync inside of Premiere. So I just want attached proxies with my audio, and I know the whole process long, everything is in sync and everything is attached to each other. And if I ever do a match frame or switch drives or whatever happens, they all stay together. I think multicam has a lot of downsides, and I think proxy workflow is just improving Premiere so much. I can add now the metadata from Resolve into my baked proxies, and they just travel along the whole process. And I think Joshua will show a bit of that. What I basically did is just step by step the whole process of how I'm doing it. I can share it in the link if you like. But the funny thing is that it all feels so simple. I mean, it feels like a very simple task. I bring in my audio, my video. Just give me something to work with. Don't give me extra options. Don't mess up with metadata. Don't make turnovers much more light and easy for everybody.
You had ALE there.
Oh, I got ALE.
No. But I just want to point a point here. ALE. I mean, in Premiere, an Avid log exchange.
Yeah,
so,
I do a lot of ALE.
Here's a perfect example where Adobe, please, Pro Video people, please, AAFs, ALE, all this is like, we need to not have to go to another software in order to rely on Premiere's exchange of data. Colin,
totally.
Please.
True. Yeah, I can't endorse that message. I've reached out to this tool and website called editingtools.io. Everybody should run their website. They're making great tools for video professionals, editors, and everybody around it. And I just asked them, can you just write a couple of lines for me so I can so my ALE will have all that metadata. And they did, and I'm really happy they did. So they created a whole ALE toolkit. They already were building that. And inside of it, they also made an option to just implement IXML footage or metadata into your timeline, so you can see track names, what mic is what. And if you want to go back to your original audio files, you can also reverse that process. And yeah, I think that's really great. I'm really glad there are people out there who think with you in the process, but it feels a bit weird that such a basic ingest and turnover method is not inside your one ALE. And I think you will always use other ALEs for visual effects, for audio, for color, or whatever. But it's really, I think this is the basic and the most fundamental thing I'm experiencing. And when I do episodics, I'm working with production. And in production, I have maybe 200, 300, 400 hours of footage. I'm doing documentary stuff. Working on it with a team with several assistants, and it just runs smoothly. Nobody has crashes with those proxies. Nobody has sync issues. It's really easable, exchangeable. We work on SSD drives, but even off cloud storage. It's all really light and simple. And I can't express my feelings that people just should try this out. It will help your life.
Cool. So I've muted some other mics there. So if you need to talk, please, unmute yourself. Any questions for Pelle while we're here?
This is what I want, right? Just one button inside Premiere that just says, "Hey, here are my dailies. Create this stuff." And when I'm done, I just want to say, "Hey guys, that was amazing. I've been cutting my feature film or my documentary. Convert everything to the source, and I'm happy. Everybody's happy."
Yeah, baby. Love it.
So, Pelle, I want to hear from you. So, and I know a lot of people who make proxies in Resolve, for example. I understand the syncing daily process that you're doing there, but for proxies, for example, what was the use case? Why do you prefer making them in Resolve versus Premiere? Because if you do use the Premiere proxy workflow, there's always that chance that you make them wrong, especially because it's so picky about the audio channels. So I always make mine in Premiere to be safe. I'm curious to know, why do you prefer to make them in Resolve?
Because I can batch sync them with the audio, the production audio. It was recorded on a separate device, and I've got just two sources, and I just want to merge them into one proxy. And if I got one proxy, then all the audio is already there. And if I do a relink, I just throw away everything, and with an XML or through Resolve or even inside of Premiere, you can always relink the footage to the original and can bypass the whole audio channel problem. And it's really funny that a lot of people are. It sounds like a bit like an old method to do, but the program runs so smooth when there's not two paths to look for every clip. So if you got like a timeline, a very complex timeline with all those assets, Premiere is just so very smooth, and that will. Is this better, Kyle?
Yeah, that's
okay, cool. So
I might just add one thing, that for making proxies in Resolve for Premiere or Avid, you do get the benefit of better controls on LUTs or modifying color to a degree. I mean, I guess they can make a DP can send you a LUT. You can can you apply that with proxy workflow in Premiere?
Yeah. What I do is I just do the LUT over the proxies in Premiere, but you can also bake in a color code inside of the ALE file. You can update your ALE file because we're bringing in this ALE file to Premiere. Right. You can always update it, so you can add new metadata to your proxies, and that's really wonderful.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, Brian, I've been bugging them to put a LUT checkbox in the proxy dialog in Premiere for years, because they added the watermark and a bunch of other stuff, which was great. And now I'm like, there's so many things I want to add on the LUT. There is a process. It's just like 30 steps, and you have to do it through media encoder. So you can't automatically apply LUTs. It's not simple at all.
Well, I remember Premiere did Adobe did a great addition. I remember a few years back, to do ingest or you had to make like every aspect ratio needed its own thing, and it was, I don't know if you remember that. You had to like make you had to open media encoder, make that whole ingest thing. Like, oh my god, who designed this?
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah. But they fixed that, so that was a great step they made in that right direction.
Yeah, and now let's talk about Resolve with that. Resolve is percentages, right? So they were smart when they did percentages rather than resolution based, and it really comes down to the difference between After Effects and Premiere as well. You know, Premiere is resolution based. After Effects is scalable, vector based. You know, pictures look great in After Effects, way better than going to Premiere, or at least that's what my experience.
But for us to keep it simple, we do exactly what Pelle does. Just because color, I care more about the color fidelity and the color science in Resolve. I'm happy. It's so much quicker just to throw everything in Resolve, cut proxies, then cut for performance in Premiere, and then when you bring your XML in, you just force it to connect to the originals that were made in Resolve, so you never have a problem matching the originals in Resolve. So I could never work another way.
One other thing I just want to interject with that, and it will have to do with my Avid presentation in a second, but when you prep everything in Resolve, not everything is perfect. Some productions come in, they're messy, there's problems. I just helped AdMarks with a thing with they had duplicate cam roll like namings that were happening. So you have collisions on time code, and like there's like 3 different A35 cards just because of messiness. And that, I think a B camera was like an FX3. We have to manually say the tape name. So if you mess up and you don't update it, you got multiple A35 cards, and now there's time code collisions, and you're trying to do color online later, and it's like grabbing the wrong clip because it has the same metadata. So by enforcing like a Resolve, if you're going to color in Resolve, you set up all your dailies in Resolve, fix those metadata problems before you even bother making proxies, then it's already cleansed by the time it gets to Premiere or Avid. And then when it goes back to Resolve, you already have the media pool that's set up to knowing what is going to come back, and it's already ready for conform, which is way cleaner.
Yeah, that's what I want. I don't want to have to think about it, right? We don't, it's simple. Cutting on one system, there should be some live output that everybody gets to see. The Resolve, colorists can do their work. I don't want to use LUTs though, other than as a technical LUT. They're just so destructive. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but on that, my personal, view is that I'd rather have the full control. And I guess with Premiere now having a larger color space has been a huge difference. And ACE workflow. You guys want to talk a little bit about that?
Before we go to that, let's talk about LUTs for a second. I mean, there are good LUTs and there are shit LUTs. So, you know.
That's a technical
what
term.
about the cinematic light?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So if you look at a guy like Noam Kroll, I mean, he makes beautiful, subtle LUTs, and they work. That's all we only use his LUTs. We don't use anybody else's LUTs, and we use them, you know, like salt and pepper, not like barbecue sauce.
That's a great analogy.
Let's face it. Like a LUT is a lookup table. It's only built for the image coming in and affecting the final output. You can't apply a LUT. Pretty much, you can't apply a LUT and expect the same result putting it on different footage. It just doesn't work that way.
Right?
No.
So, you know, LUTs are a tool for colorists and post supervisors, for the post team, the shooting and the post team to go, we've lit this, we've tested our cameras, we know what color the lighting is, we know what color the paint is on that wall, we know the skin tones, and then we've designed a LUT that's going to work in through this particular scene throughout the whole process. That's what LUTs are for. So, you know, yeah, you can use a LUT to sort of like step on it and make it look cool for social media. But the reality is that they've got a very specific use, and
but for offline purposes, it's great. I mean, I just receive a LUT from the studio or from the DP, and I can just see what approximately he has envisioned, and then when I'm done, I just remove the LUT, and real professional color guys and girls will make it beautiful.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say you just said it, but to me, a LUT is a temporary use while you're telling the story. It's just like to see the intention, and it's just there for now, knowing that later, even if you're like a one-man crew and you want to color in something more robust in Lumetri, you want to go to Resolve, still just use a LUT. It's like, I'm not going to worry about color yet. It's just like close enough, tell the story. All right, now let's get the color, and now you can use the more robust tools that other software has for color.
Yeah,
so that's kind of how I view it. So.
Hey, Pelle, are you going to keep on sharing? Do you have more to show?
No,
on
I don't. I think this is pretty much the thing. I mean, the in depth is maybe on Joshua's end, and
okay, I'm going to throw up the QR code, which it leads to that document. So if you guys get your cameras ready,
and please shout out if you find any mistakes or improvements. I mean, we're all here to share and learn from each other, right?
It's our new mascot, by the way. That's JJ.
Is that one of your assistant editors?
Yeah, so it was my assistant editor. You know, that brings us to Bryan Colvin's session. Joshua, do you want to talk in there? Because like you and Pelle work closely together, and I don't want to like jump out of that topic.
No, it's fine. Basically, so the reason I'm in here is the other day I was bitching in the Odyssey group about syncing in Premiere, and I shared this video tutorial on Pelle's method with the group and with you specifically, and you invited me into the podcast, and I said, but it's Pelle's method basically, like he taught me. So I pulled Pelle in. So my demo is basically Pelle's method and my own journey, like how I came to appreciate this specific method, and I've been through them all. So whenever you want me to say,
let's show your demo. We got a quick demo here from Joshua. Here it goes. I'm gonna screen share with you. There you are. Now, zoom in, make it pretty, please, if you can.
So I am by no means a metadata expert, and I don't aspire to be one. Like Bryan said, I just want to do offline edits, and I don't want to be bothered by stuff not working. And oftentimes in the past, I have been bothered by people calling me after turnovers. So when I started in Premiere, I began the old-fashioned route of just going sort by time code, merge clip. That was horrible.
Can you zoom in?
I wouldn't. Oh yeah.
I think all of us have merged clips at some point.
Yeah. So I went deep into merge clips, and I actually figured out that you can retain metadata with merge clips, but there's a secret to it. But I still wouldn't recommend anybody do it. But the trick is that you merge in the timeline. For some reason, if you merge in the timeline rather than in the bin, at least like last time I did that 4 years ago, the metadata is
synchronize.
Synchronize, and then afterwards you merge. You leave everything unchecked, yeah, and then you get a merge clip in your bin.
That has the proper time code.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
What?
There we go.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so-
That's cool.
So it's cool, and I try to speak to Adobe about it. Like, hey, why for some reason does it work if you do it in the timeline and not in the bin? But they never really got.
I don't
back to me on
believe
that
you.
one.
I don't believe you. Show me
Try
show
it
me
out.
that time code, but dude, I want to see it.
I'll
seriously,
share.
Okay,
I will
because
say that
merch.
this you
the
can't
clip
batch
has
it.
time
You can't
code.
batch
There we
this.
go. No, that's the thing. You cannot batch this process. So it's a very cumbersome manual process, and I just used to instruct my assistant. I have a YouTube tutorial on this method, and people would just go crazy because it takes such a long time to sync up a shooting day. So then I ran into the multicam method, which I shall call a workaround, and I refuse to call it anything other than a workaround. So what that does is you can basically batch sync footage, but as you'll see immediately, if
Can
I
you zoom in?
if I do that, I had some sweet metadata here in these columns. It's now gone, which is a shame. There's a way to get it back with extensions and stuff, but the sound recorders make such an effort entering all this metadata, and basically you lose it in Premiere.
Can you
So
undo
then-
the process so we can see the metadata from your columns?
Yeah. So basically, then it goes. So there's some of the metadata.
So Premiere's
Zoom in.
stripping the metadata as you handle the asset.
Well,
is that right?
It's not.
I think
not
it's
stripping
hidden
it.
within the group.
Yeah.
It's like
so I can show you.
inside.
If I do this, if I create this batch, I have these clips now, and then this is empty. But then Mark Sandali, I think he's called, made a script, and if I click that, it'll get back the metadata.
Uh-huh.
But
So
then
that script
there's-
is in one of the tool tips that we have, right?
I don't think we included it because I
should,
personally
but-
don't recommend this method because multicam has a bunch of drawbacks in my experience. For instance, you don't get duplicate frame markers on audio. You can run into a bunch of trouble using productions, relinking to different drives. It makes your project unnecessarily heavy, in my experience. You have a constant yellow box, and most important of all, it's called multicam sync.
Multicam.
So why are we using this method? So then I was also dabbling in Resolve, but I never cracked the code. And then Pelle called me one day and said, "Hey, listen, I think I figured it out." So I have to say this process, it does involve a lot of steps, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. And today I'll show you quickly how to get your footage into Premiere, and then I'll include a link to a video tutorial where you can also see how to reconform back once you've locked picture. Now the sweet thing about this method is you're making proxies and syncing at the same time and doing metadata management, where so you do it all in one fell swoop, which is awesome. So here I have my
sort of ask again.
sorry, yeah.
It's too small. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so here I have my raw footage and my audio, and in Resolve I will just click. I haven't done this a lot of time. Audio sync, auto sync, and then for now I'll leave this checkbox off. I think might be a bug, but so now you can see.
Should leave it off.
Oh, I should leave it off. Okay, so now you can see it has synced up the audio with the video.
Cool.
And that's almost it. Basically, we create a new timeline using those clips. You can see I have those clips on the timeline now. And then I can just continue to export proxies.
Can you really quickly show also the the audio channel names?
Oh yeah, so here we have, relevant.
That's
so
what you
can
want.
see.
Yep.
Oh, boom, boom. Oh, all that metadata that's from the sound recordist is maintained.
We can
To the
export
IXML,
to Premiere.
That's yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Adobe should just wholesale steal this.
I'll show that in Premiere as well. How you get it in Premiere. Anyway, so I'll just make. I won't make the proxies now. I already prepared them, but you go individual clips, ProRes, whatever, like proxy, whatever you want. Right. Audio, same as source. File, source name, and then you just export your proxies. But then
now, just a quick note on that. The reason to do this is because if you're doing a finish and resolve, primarily, then you know that whatever you're doing in Premiere, that resolve starts and then ends and wraparounds it, so that you're not trying to reinterpret assets from Premiere to Resolve. It's Premiere sends to Resolve sends to Premiere, Premiere sends to Resolve, and then you can round trip back to Premiere for graphics and animation if you want.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you can even just from Premiere go for your picture. You don't have to go round trip back to Resolve for picture.
For grading, for certain shots.
Sound.
Sometimes I do.
So now, if you export these proxies, yeah, Joost, I think you can use proxy, but I just like to set it up manually, so I have control. But I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Yeah, one thing is very important that you have the audio, the amount of audio channels the same as source. Otherwise, you gotta mix down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Premiere won't like that. Okay, so we're got 18 minutes left of the show. I want to make sure that we get Bryan showing Avid's methodology. Can you do the rest of it in 2-3 minutes?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
So what we do now is to go to Premiere, we export an ALE, which is just basically a file that respects all the metadata that's in these clips. And then once we're in Premiere, we open the ALE metadata toolkit.
Oh yeah, that's the money right there.
And then I bring in the ALE I just made. And there you can see already like all the goodness we're getting from Resolve and that ALE. And all this goodness in Premiere is buried deep down in the iXML menu.
Wow.
So basically we just hit import. And so now I like to, there we go. So you can see I have my clips and all that metadata. And then we have these columns with original video and audio file name. Those will be relevant later when you're reconforming back in Resolve. And now we even have channel names in our timeline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So this method, I'll share a link. Kyle, I think you have if I share something in the chat, can people see it?
Yes, you share it in the chat. We will see it. I will just say, can Metadata deliver creative freedom? Damn.
So
that means that you're not spending logistics time. You're gaining creative time. I love you, man.
Well,
awesome.
One question about that one that embeds the mic name on those clips. If it's in the source side and you're patching it, does it have the microphone labels and track patching, or is it not?
No.
Is that not?
No. It's only in the timeline.
Timeline.
And once you start messing with the clips, it actually removes this metadata, but you can get it back by highlighting the clip, going back into the ALE metadata toolkit, and under miscellaneous, you can append that information. So once every while, when it disappears, you can just highlight your whole timeline, say append, and you get all that information back.
I wonder if that that panel could make like a background. It'll just do it every 30 seconds. That might be a good update for them.
That'd be amazing, because I use I use Avid a lot as well. And I just, if I don't have this information in my timeline, I'm just going crazy, like soloing tracks. And I use this all the time.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks like a lot of steps. That's why I recorded the tutorial for myself, so I wouldn't forget. But once you get the hang of it, Premiere is just so buttery smooth, a lot better than multicam. So I'm really not looking for a discussion into getting on multicam workflows and how stuff does work for people. For me, this is like the only way to set up a project now, if this is the end result. It's just smooth, and all the metadata that I need is there.
I guess the only question to add to that is, if you actually do have a multi-camera production, do you just extend that with this?
I actually, if I do have multi-camera, I do tend to just use the multi-camera source sequence method, and I mix it with this. I think, Pelle, you never create multi-clips, you just AB. You just stack
I do AB,
each other.
But if I create proxies, I just make sure they both have the sync audio, so that doesn't matter which one I choose, and they always will relate to the original file.
So I want to ask you a question. So what I've been doing is I avoided multicam because I don't like automated systems messing me up. I don't trust them. I try to use them, but I've always got my backup. So in the sense that, and also coming from offline to online, want original source. I don't want virtual references to time code. That's why I never used merge clips ever. So pancake editing, I would actually take my clips, synchronize in the sequence, not from the bin.
Yeah.
Because in the bin, it's just like a crapshoot. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to work. I don't know. We'll try. Sync them in the sequence. And then instead of making a merge clip or that, what I do is I link them. I lasso each one and link it so that actually when I'm cutting pancake editing, it's the actual video clip and the actual audio clip.
But do you use match frame or because
match frame?
I can. Well, you can, and yes, it doesn't make an instance with the audio paired with that clip.
Yeah,
you're right. That's the
because I use match frame like every 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah. That's what we're all like. That's the holy grail we all want. Is the
match frame back to
useful. Yeah.
But match frame back to a source sequence, a string out, is the magic. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, reverse match frame.
Yeah, reverse match frame.
I thought they had reverse match, or someone made something to do that. I thought, right? I thought someone.
It's still convoluted. It's not easy. It's not embedded within the Adobe Premiere software. It should be easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And.
I think we can all agree that these things are like on a daily basis, not like once, but it's like the whole day. You're looking at audio tracks, seeing where's the silence, where's the mic you want to mute. All those very basic stuff is really something we all desire to have in our program.
Andrew, I miss you, brother.
He's watching from a parking lot. I love it. We're so connected.
Yeah. Article Road is 2019, and still this is on Scott. Yeah, Scott,
is very
so smart. He's probably the smartest guy on the planet when it comes to post-production.
I always get a reaction from Scott when I start bitching in the Adobe group, so love for you, Scott.
It feels like everything's already almost there, right? It feels like we can just make this work.
Well, open timeline, right?
Totally.
When many of us are under NDA on the open timeline thing with regards to Adobe. However, it is in the world. Everybody knows it's coming. So really, open timeline. Please, let's do it. Make it happen. We should get on to Brian's Avid demo right now, right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so Brian, let's see, we got 12 minutes. Yay, we can do it. Okay, cool. So Brian has some tips, cool tip tools that'll help. Here it is, Bryan Colvin, cool tools. Get your phone out.
I would say that the one thing on that thing there's a lot of those are Avid based, but there is one on there that might be useful to people that's in Resolve. It'll make a readable like marker export. So if you use Resolve, there's a really cool Resolve marker export on that link. So you might check that out.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian, I'm going to screen share you, buddy.
All right.
There goes. Stand by and BC. There's yours.
Okay.
On to
so since it's kind of like, whoa, what is this? And you guys are usually in Premiere. Let me just quickly give you a little tour. This is video tracks up here. So, and the rest of it is all audio work. So this is dialogue tracks. This is mono sound effects. This is stereo sound effects. I work in surround, so some of them have surround stuff, music. And because I have surround, I have subwoofer channels as well. And this is a horror film short where I'm definitely rocking the subwoofer. So because we just talked about it, one thing we're comparing Avid versus Premiere. And one of the, this is some of the reasons I love using this thing so much is because this is just so rock solid. Metadata of microphones and all this. If I match to a group clip, you can see that it's multicam. Are you sharing my screen? You sharing me?
Yeah, 1 second. Back. I just because a second. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so you can see it's a multicam clip I just matched to. Right in track patching, it already has microphone labels. I didn't have to do anything. If you match,
can you zoom in?
Yes.
Thank you. Just if you can, every once in a while. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So you can see in this is source side patching, and you can patch it to whatever channel you want, or you can deactivate. I only want to pull zombie into this. Yeah, I got zombies and vampires in this thing. So, anyways, it's built into the metadata. The Avid has the benefit of it sort of was like a database first. It's like the first thing they built, and it has a lot of strengths because of that. But if you match back to this thing, you can keep matching back to the audio source. So on the source side, I'm deselecting video, and I'm matching just to the source audio. And you can see right in here, it has like mix left, right, boom. I'll zoom into that. So you can see it's like got the metadata built into this thing. If you find bin on that, this is
Bryan, you don't have to manage this, right? It
not at
populates.
All. This, if you guys don't know, there's a program by Sound Devices called Wave Agent. I always use this to before I pour it into any NLE or anything. You just look at what did the sound guide do, what is all the metadata already on the files. So Avid just uses all this stuff, and depending on your columns, you can say show all, make sure you're seeing all metadata. You scroll over, and you will somewhere see mic labels. You can start seeing boom. And these are kind of custom columns because every sound device will have a slightly different naming convention. But Avid's they were pretty good about figuring out the most popular ones, and they have automatically built this to be, if you change that mic, it'll change it in the track patching, it'll change it in the group. It's like global. But you don't have to because the sound guy already did the work on set, already put all the stuff in. It's just automatically in there, and it automatically works. It's in track patching. If you zoom into the timeline, there's a setting where you can, sorry, this green scene bin color is not easy to read. On this one, if I zoom in, you can see Luna. That's one of the characters. So you can see like in the timeline itself, in track patching, it's just an absolute joy to be able to use this metadata. And they have changed source track. I'm like, actually, I want the boom. I want this. And it's all labeled.
Man, I love that. I've been wanting that in that's kind of how exactly what multicam sync should be in Premiere, but for
exactly.
and video, right?
So
I want to be able to change my shot and without having stacked layers and nice.
Yeah. And this is actually changing the sound from either camera angle, which most likely is the same, or in some cases it could be different audio. And because I'm on A-cam has these channels. So if I switch to B-cam, there could be a situation where B-cam for some reason had different audio, and you'll see different mics here. But it's all kind of baked into their metadata system. It's just definitely handy that you don't have to do any workarounds. It works right out the gate. And I'm confident Adobe can get theirs there, and it would be a really great day to see you open Premiere, and this is the same situation.
Of that in Premiere, you could do it on the timeline with a multicam and select different audio if you've got the available channels, but it's clunky. It's clunky. It's not as nice as this for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like they could get it there without too much effort. Like it's not that far away for them to build that, I would think. Okay, well, I was only talking about that because we talked about that. The actual presentation is more about picture round trip, so we should get into that with the limited time we got. So this is like, an edit might look like this, where you got like, usually I'm trying to keep all the drama story stuff on V1 or V2 at max, but you might see some crazy stacks where the director's like, I don't know about this one or that one or that one or that one. And I kind of keep them around as options. And then later on, they might like, you can monitor different channels of what you're seeing. So I just keep them around as options. When you start doing turnovers, you got to get rid of all that junk. So I kind of preemptively made a test. Test ref. Okay, so I kind of I didn't take the whole edit. I just kind of took chunks of it and basically simplified everything down to a V1 as much as possible. And you'll see that I have this track effect on top. It's kind of like an adjustment layer in Premiere language. That's just like burn-ins, so you can see I'm kind of burning in like the source time code, the tape name, the time code of the actual edit, and what the edit is. So, Fred, thank you. Spelled my name wrong, but yeah. So I'm prepping this, and I'm basically just exporting this as a picture reference. That's what this is for. Then the exact same timeline is here. I've eradicated everything except for the picture track, and I'm just going to turn that over because, basically you would duplicate your time. This would go for Avid or Premiere. Your locked edit, you're going to duplicate it, make a turnover sequence. It's for that turnover for picture, and then a totally other style that's for sound. And then I'm sure this is similar in Premiere, but in Avid, you have to do a process of commit multicams because it'll confuse the turnover. So you got to get down to the raw objects. So there's a thing, you right click, commit multicams. There's probably something similar in Premiere that what do you call it in Premiere? Like when you commit multicams, you get rid of those objects and
flatten, right?
Flatten. Yeah. So you're flattening. Same thing. So, okay. So once you're there, now you're back into Resolve. And this is, so I've kind of prepared a media pool that is all the original footage. And it has the same reel name. This, for some reason, this short film had really weird reel names. I think they were using it like some funky external recorder off the camera or something. So they're a little different looking. And now the StreamYard thing is in the way of my buttons. Here we go.
No, you can hide there. I think there's a little button that's there next to the stop sharing. You can put hide.
Oh, I'm good.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So
Zoom
I'm
in,
going to,
please.
yes. So let's zoom into this.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. Are you seeing? Oh, sorry. There we go. Timelines, import. So this would be the same for Premiere or Avid.
OTO. Open timeline.
Okay, so we're going to go open this. This is an AAF I made from Avid. Avid, I think, has XML, but really the golden standard from Avid is an AAF. It's kind of the same thing. It's just like a very descriptive file that is your edit. So import, and they're going to have this. Now here is the secret sauce. I already have my project settings. Don't mess with that. Don't import anything. I already have a media pool. Link to source camera files. And then this is the golden thing. Use sizing information. That is the thing that actually will mine your thing. I think this works in XML too, to a degree. But if you hit that, it's going to attempt to, oh, sorry, and you got to tell it, try to link to stuff that exists. I don't want it to be confused with anything other than camera original. Okay. All right. Hell yeah. So good. I don't know why this is happening. I just tested this. You know what? I have another test that's a different short film. Imagine this worked, and I have another test that is different. That's going to be better.
It's so funny. There's always going to be something that happens live. Clients in the room.
I'm like wondering if I kick the cable and it like disconnected the hard drive. It's like okay. Imagine that one goes through, and I actually made a special thing that tries to test the limits of an AAF linking working. So let me go to this music video. Different project. And I'm also going to, at the same time, open the other relink test.
I got big respect for you, Bryan. You working 100 hours a week right now. You never stop. Your energy is like a renewable resource that's beyond imagining. Wow.
All right. Well, here I basically made, let me preemptively do this and make sure this links and I'm not like running into some hard drive disconnected stupid thing. No NLE can connect to something where the hard drive is not connected, I will say. You know what I just did? I linked up the wrong project. That's what happened. So that makes sense. I linked to the music video, not to the vampire short. So that's just a brain fart. But if I import this one, same concept, same buttons, link to source camera, sizing information. Okay. This should find it. Make sure I'm only looking in footage. That looks better. Okay.
Sweet.
Okay, good.
So,
are you guys okay for going a little over? Because we're at the top of the hour.
I can make this real short and sweet.
No worries. No, good content is king. I just hope you guys have time. So our thing, we haven't.
I think I could show this in like 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Perfect.
So,
awesome.
So here I basically put sub captions for what I'm doing. So when you go into like the keyframes, you can see I've done like a crazy rotation, reposition, just crazy things. So that one's like that. This one I'm animating and rotating. This one I'm doing a 300% speed and I've repositioned it. This one I'm rewinding. This one I'm doing an absurd time warp of just wackiness of rewinding and playing forward. Just basically like there's no way that's gonna relink. There's no how could that ever relink properly. So I'm just kind of going through all these iterations of trying to break it. Like how far can it go and still work?
Can I have a quick question?
Yeah.
Those keyframes, are those Bezier keyframes and you're hoping to translate that into
yes.
other software?
The zoom-ins prior are linear, but that time warp is Bezier. And then this one has a Bezier. It's the same time warp as this one. which is crazy. And then it also has Bezier time keyframes on like scaling, I believe.
So that's a huge test right there. Like, boom. Okay, so can we see how that works?
Yeah. So we switch over to this, and I should have in this. Let me reveal timeline. Reveal timeline. Where to import? Oh, I'm scrolled over. Okay. So if I link offline clip, I've already kind of prepared it. Go into offline mode. So we can kind of see. Oh yeah, this one I baked into the daily. I flip-flopped it because it was upside down. So we do have to manually correct that. But look at that. That's not looking bad. This is because I baked it into the daily before Avid even knew about it.
Gosh,
so
you're
that's
quick, man. Can you step through it to see how close it is to the frame? Because I want to see how the Bezier worked.
Yes, okay. And actually, better than this. This is like one way to look at it, but a better way is to overlay it. So in Resolve, I usually pull in picture reference, and you can import it as a reference. But I also pull it in as a normal clip, so that I can do this in different mode. The thing,
yeah, big time. Yeah. So that's good tip when you're preparing anything. An export, ideally textless and ungraded master that can be used as a backup. Then you also have your ALE or AAF or your EDL or your whatever you're going to do for original source with handles.
But look at this, by the way. That canted angle, it's dead on. This is a canted angle with zoom in and rotation. It goes slightly off, but I think this one is because it was a flip flop before the proxy was ever made. I think that's why that's off. This one, it's a speed change, and you can see it's got the speed effect. It's 300%. There it is. You can see.
Those of you note that he's using an opacity compositing setting that allows you to line it up.
Difference mode on the top layer helps you see how
that
dead
all the time
on.
Too. It's a sweet. Good job.
So this one, I did a burn in here on the left side, so it's gang synced the off, so I can also see. Okay, this was a negative 100% reverse. This is
Can
the
you zoom
wild
in on that on
the left
program
side
monitor?
here.
Program monitor.
Program monitor. All right. Here we go.
So that we can see it that better. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
I guess I have to scrub here because I can't see what I'm doing. But if I'm
works.
going through this is the Bezier curve retime. That's pretty damn impressive, I will say.
That is impressive because interpolating speed ramps is the most challenging metadata transfer in VFX. Really.
Yeah, and it's done a pretty dang good job. So this is the same one, but now it's got this Bezier curve animation repos. So Avid's AAF to here. Let's see how it did. It's not doing bad at all. It definitely goes off a little bit. I mean, but we're trying to break it. Like how good can it do?
So Premiere engineers, please listen. This is exactly what professional needs are for large, big productions. This is what needs to happen.
Quick question, Bryan. Do you tend to stick to basic effects like 3D warp and resize as to ensure proper turnovers?
I mean, no, because I also do like paint effects, and I'm doing temp. When it gets into stuff like that, like muzzle flashes and all that, the things I'm working on, we're just marketing it for VFX and it's going to vendors. So it's kind of like that's as far as my stuff usually needs to go. If it's something where I'm going to end up doing a bunch of After Effects myself, I'm probably going to choose Premiere. But I just don't work on that kind of stuff at the moment. So if I was going to do it all in the box myself, the choice leans a little more towards Premiere or maybe even Resolve or Fusion and that kind of thing.
One more quick question. If you do lots of step-ins, so if you have step-in, and lots of effects stacked on each other, how does that come across?
It doesn't probably. I think that, but the reason I'm going to the step-ins, these are step-ins, so it is listening to an amount of them because the way that Avid works is every single one is a step-in, so the time effect is inside the other one. So whatever the AF is doing, it is going inside and getting the child of the child of the child of the effect, and it can work to a degree. I've not tested, like, can it do 10 layers? Can it do 20? I don't know. I haven't tested it that far. When it gets beyond a certain amount, I'm assuming it's like, well, VFX, some vendor's gonna put the muzzle flashes. I just do some good enough action essentials, move on, kind of thing. But you know, it's like, yeah, it's never gonna be perfect, but I've been very impressed with how well Avid translates to this. The last thing I'll say, we didn't really touch on sound turnovers, but the one
It's a whole other episode.
A whole other episode. But Avid has the benefit if they own both programs, so it's hard to beat that. You know, going to Pro Tools, which is usually the preferred for most re-recording teams. We'll probably have to do another episode for that because we're out of time. But
cool. So I want to just throw up Bryan Colvin's cool tools so that you have your basically you'll be able to scan the QR code and get his cool tools. And Arthur Bell, we also have something from Arthur. Arthur, what do you want to add there? There was you had I think I had it up here.
Yeah, I think you know, you guys are deep in the weeds on that stuff, and that's great. But I think for most of the people in the Adobe Editors Forum, they're wanting to know, how do I get to Resolve? Why should I get to Resolve? Is it going to get fixed in Premiere? And I just have a set of rules, and you can just hand out that sheet if you want. There are some things that we have tested over the years that guarantees that you can, you know, do all your. The best thing to us about Premiere is productions. We live on productions every day. We have multiple editors working on it every day. Productions has, you know, solved all of our crashing problems, all of our latency problems. So we're very happy with that. But that's where we cut. We grade everything in Resolve. We don't touch any of the color tools, even for looks anymore. We don't really look at it anymore. But if you follow the steps that we have learned, and Darren Mostein was the one who taught me, he's a great senior colorist who's very good at sharing a lot of his data. So I don't want to go through all this whole list unless you want to give it out to people if they ask for it in the forum. Whatever you want.
We're gonna put a link to that tip list that you have. Cool to that so that people can download it. Just got to set that up. Yeah. You know, Arthur, I got to say hats off to you for also being an amazing person who helped build APPE, you know, the Adobe Premiere Pro Editors Group. You know, your contribution has made, you know, lifted it to the level that it is now, and really appreciate all your efforts on that, man. I guess hat tip to you, brother.
No, it's good for all of us. I think we all joined to learn, and then some of us jumped over the fence and started to help. So you guys are still there, so good job.
Yeah. Now we should talk round trip last notes, and I gotta throw sponsors up there too. Those link in Digital Anarchy. Let's see, we got 1 minute ish. So last thoughts, guys.
I'll chime in with I'm like totally agnostic and like all NLEs. I like all of them. I like them for different reasons. I still cut things in Resolve, Avid, Premiere. I've even messed with Lightworks. I mess with everything. I have Synthize. I use everything I can possibly use. I mess with Pro Tools. I just like all of it for telling a story. And I think that us communicating with the developers on all of them improves the tools for all of us. And I like to keep the developers in check, especially since I was a dev in a past life and I understand it. And it's nice when they listen to us. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'll just also share with you, if you want to check out Bryan's work. Here, let's just share this right here. There's Bryan's work right there. You can see his website. Awesome guy. Way too busy to be hired because he's got too much going on. It's insane. Okay.
Don't sell him short. Maybe he needs a gig. You don't know.
Joshua, let's talk you now here. Go ahead. Last words.
Yeah. So a piece of advice for Adobe would be to make a decision on ingest. It's very clear the path they're choosing when it comes to AI and like solo content creators and that sort of stuff. It's just very glaringly obvious to me that ingest and turnovers hasn't seen any love in like 15 to 20 years. I mean, the multicam menu I know from when I was like 18, 19. So I would say make a decision and communicate about it clearly. because we depend on your tool, which we love, for our bread and butter. And we don't want another Final Cut episode, when 7.3 went to X and we all started crying. And like, I would just like to know what direction are you headed in, and then I can make a decision. And I hope they'll meet us somewhere in the middle, because I love Premiere just as I love Avid and Resolve, but I wouldn't like to lose it in my daily life.
Pelle, you're up.
Yeah. Totally agree with everything that my colleague said here, and it's a great piece of software. We use it daily, so every improvement is really appreciated. We use it so much in our life, and I watch my timeline more than my kids when I'm too busy. So please make stuff available that we need to craft beautiful stories.
Cool, John. You want to show? You got last words from you, buddy? Hang on.
I don't have nothing to show. I just want to say this reminds me. There is no one size fits all. I don't think we'll ever be at a place where one piece of software it's one ring to rule them all. We're not looking at any kind of Sauron situation here where it's like, oh my God, this one is the only NLE you will ever need, eclipses all of them. It's always going to be just a bunch of tools in our toolkit. Which one works for this particular thing? Some of them work together. We always need one to go with the other. We're not ever going to be in there's just one. I don't think we're ever going to be at that point. And this just reinforces that all of these things can work together. And you find if you have a shortcoming in the one that you're working in, you find one that doesn't have that shortcoming, and you send your work through that first and you round trip it through.
100%. Yeah, I'll just say that's my link there, and I'll just go to the screen share for a second here. Okay, before we go into that. Okay, so I basically my stuff is a lot of drama, comedy, corporate. It's right across the board. And when I moved into working with Premiere, it was because of Final Cut 7. I was working on discrete logic, and it was the first codec agnostic and platform agnostic. Vegas was the first codec agnostic tool. Premiere was the first codec and platform agnostic tool. So that's why I went for Premiere, years and years ago. So we're going to throw out to our sponsors here. Lucid Link, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We couldn't do these shows without your financial support and going to Adobe Max. See you there. Gergana, Hat Tip, Rupert. Also Digital Anarchy, Jim Tierney. Dude, you are the king of making cool software extensions. You push the NLEs farther, and then they just take your ideas and make it their own. So, man, keep up the fight. You're incredible. Thanks for building all your tools. You're awesome. And thanks for your financial support as well. So, last words out. Anything else? Oh, I guess that's it.
Thank you for coming, guys. This was a great panel.
Yeah, I couldn't fit it all in. Damn. Good talk.
We'll have to have a part 2 later.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay. Thanks, guys. Going to end the stream now. We're out. Stand by. And
thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.